The version of your marriage that you have right now is not the final version of your marriage, right? And you might be like, duh. But I have come to find that because life is life and the to do list never ends. And sometimes we're just coasting. We find ourselves being like, okay, we got a good groove here. Okay, how do we maintain this exact version of sanity? How do we maintain, like, we're good? How do we keep this going? How do we keep this afloat? And we're not necessarily thinking about how we elevate, or we don't even have the mental capacity. It feels exhausting to think about how we can grow, even though in our heart of hearts, growth is the goal. And this is something for me personally that I have really strived to keep in mind in my own marriage because the desire for the longevity in my marriage. And we've been together for 17 years and everything ain't easy. But there's definitely some things that we have done to continue to be in a state of elevation and growth that has been helpful, that has been able to fold into our lives. It didn't necessarily make things more difficult. And that's what I want to share today. I want to share from my own marriage, from my own experience. And first, story time. It was late November 2024. And maybe it was even December 2024, like towards the end of that year. I'm cleaning out. We're cleaning out things in our house. We're like decluttering in order to prepare for this decision we just made to move abroad. I'm like, let's start something. So we're decluttering, we're starting to work on logistics and things like that. And I come across this paper that I forgot about. It was a plain old eight and a half by 11 paper, some printer paper, folded up like those homemade birthday cards. It was taped closed with some scotch tape. And on the front, it said June 2021. And I was like, oh snap, I forgot about this. I know exactly what this is, but I forgot about this. And whoa, I was I was like, okay, let's open this up. And I'm going to tell you what was in it and I'm going to tell you what it was, but it's going to make more sense to you if you have these details I'm about to give you. In this moment in time, like I said, we had made the decision to go to Panama to move abroad. I don't even know if we had made the decision that was Panama yet. We were just like, we're moving abroad. And so we were packing up, certain things that we didn't use like that. We were starting to give away things. We were decluttering the house. We were working on some logistics. The house that we were in, that we were like, okay, we're going to put this up for sale next year in 2025 so that we can move. And it was our first house together. We're both New York, raised in New York City, okay, Bronx and Brooklyn. So we spent a lot of our lives in apartments and in smaller spaces. And while we rented a house before that was our first live in a house experience. This was the first house that we actually bought, and we bought it outright. And yes, we were selling it. And I was also in a place where I was we had two children. I had my daughter, Sovereign, at that time. I want to say she was 8, maybe 8 going on 9, or maybe she was 7. She was around that age, child, trying to do the math in real time with y'all. But um, my daughter and then my son, who was 3. And I'm looking at them, and then I'm looking at this paper that says June 2021. And I'm like, oh, I go to Austin and I'm like, do you remember this? And I think he was like, oh, what's that? Or maybe he said he did remember. I don't remember, ironically. But I was like, we got to open this up. And what that was that in June of 2021, June is one of our wedding anniversaries. That's another story for another day. June is one of our wedding anniversaries. And we were just writing things down that we wanted for ourselves. So what do we want for ourselves personally? What do we want for our life together? What do we want for our relationship? We had jotted some things down on this paper. And we had gotten to a groove with that every year. Even though we check in throughout the year, that was something that we got into a groove with. And I want to talk to you and let me finish the story. But I know in my heart, I got to share with you how we folded that into our lives simply and how it really helped us. But I have this paper in my hand. I'm like, let's open the paper. This was like opening a time capsule. Okay. I don't know why. It wasn't that many years ago. We were in 2024. This is like 2021 that we did this. But what was on that paper? Three things that I can remember that stick out to me. I still have this paper, but it is back in the States. I wish I could show it to you. The three major things it had on there was we want to have a healthy second child because 2021 was a rough year. Obviously, 2020 was a rough year for everyone globally, and then you're still dealing with whatever's happening in your own life. And then 2021, we're just coming out of it. But 2021 was the year that I lost my mom, and June was the month that I lost my mom. And we 2020, the year before we wrote these things down, I had had my second and most challenging pregnancy loss for me, challenging emotionally, physically. And so we wrote down that we wanted to have a healthy second child. And we wrote down that we want, and this one was like so wild to me. I was like, we don't even know anybody who's ever done this in our real life. But we're like, we're gonna buy a house outright in cash. I was like, okay, if we dreaming big, if we dreaming high from where we are right now, we're going for it. Talking about we're gonna buy a house in cash outright. Okay. And the third thing was that was big on there was that I wanted us to live abroad 6 months out the year. So half the year in the States and half the year abroad. So I thought that was a good compromise, right? I hadn't quite at that in that year visioned just going gun ho, but look at us now, right? And look at us in that moment. So 2021, rewrite that. Fast forward to 2024, we're in the house that we bought outright. We are looking at our two children, our second child that we had, a healthy baby boy. And we are planning to not just do 50-50, but actually move abroad and start a new life and do something that felt really aligned with who we are and our spirit and what we wanted for our lives and for our children. And it was like, whoa. And this isn't even a manifestation video, but we have to take a minute for that because I was showing everybody. I was like, look what we wrote. Like, we wrote this a few years ago and look where we are right now. And we hadn't even really thought about it. We were kind of living life. We were coasting through. You know, we were had moments of coasting and maintaining too. We were living life. But the point is that it started with that visioning. That's one of the first things that was so impactful in our continued growth was it started with the visioning. It started with us taking a moment to just converse and talk about what it is that we wanted for ourselves while still being grateful and very present for what we had. We were grateful. People would be like, oh, so you weren't happy? No, we weren't unhappy. We just wanted this for ourselves because it was aligned for where we were in the moment. We were blessed to have the house. We had built a lot of beautiful richness where we were and in the season that we were in that life, in the life that we were living in that house in the States. But we were we were grateful and we were present, and we're like, this is some things that we want to grow into. This is some things that we want to move towards. This is the momentum that we want to have, right? And I was like, yo, isn't this crazy that we did this? But in doing it, we were creating momentum for ourselves. We had spoken into existence. And full transparency, some years we write stuff down. That year we wrote stuff down. The years that after that, we really just had conversation. We just put it out into the atmosphere. We put it out into the world. Like I said, I don't think we necessarily jotted things down. Sometimes I might have put it in like a notes thing, which is the next thing that I really want to share is that we keep it really simple. There are some people I know that have dedicated notebooks for visioning, that have spreadsheets, that have like calendars and things like that. And if that is someone's, thing, then always do your thing. Do what feels good to you. Do what makes sense to you. Do what feels aligned to you. But for us, we keep it super simple. Like, let me tell you how simple it was. The paper that I found, okay, I remember this day because the list and the June 2021 that was on the front was was written in blue colored pencil. My daughter's blue colored pencil. Because I think that day we wanted to jot things down real quick and we couldn't find like a pencil or a pen. And we just use a blue colored pencil. Okay, so that's how serious but unserious it was. We just grabbed whatever we had, some computer paper, jotted it down, folded like a homemade birthday card, taped it up, and said, this is what we're putting out into the world. But sometimes it's just a discussion that we put out into the world. We share what it is that we want for ourselves personally, individually, so that we can support each other in that, so that we can remind each other of that. And we also share what we want for our marriage, like I said, and what we want out of life. And that, I think, energetically creates a certain level of momentum and growth. And it doesn't have to be difficult, and it doesn't have to be painstaking. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. Some of our conversations were in the car. A lot of them were in the car. Some of them were over a meal. You know, we already here. We're already eating. Let's chat about it. If we did it on our actual anniversary, yeah, that we have done more elaborate things like our blue colored pencil write down, or even there were times where we made these little strips and we would put what we wanted, these little strips, and then we'd put it in like a mason jar and we would open it later. Like, we've done little creative things like that. We've done it on our actual anniversary, but a lot of times it could be pillow talk conversation, morning conversation, you know, before the kids fully get up, or even like, this is probably TMI, but just one of us is in the bathroom, the other one's in the bathroom, because that's where you can get away from your kids. Sometimes we just need a minute and we're talking in there and we're having a discussion. Like, it was something that we just folded into our lives. And so we didn't overthink it. And that was important, because I was like, I don't want to overthink it. We're both often exhausted. Sometimes we don't have the mental capacity for things. And then in spaces that feel comfortable, like you're just eating or you're just chilling in the bed, you can have those quiet conversations. You know what? I really think we can buy a house in cash. Like, that's something that I want. I don't know when it's gonna be, but I feel like we're gonna do it. You know what? And I really want to live outside, live abroad. You know, even if we just did it for a little while. You know what? Not a little while. This is me thinking I'm dreaming even bigger. How about 6 months of the year? Right? So I was like, we can do that. It's simpler than we make it. Even though life is lifing, even though we're tired, even though we have all these responsibilities and we're coasting and we're maintaining, if the goal is growth, let's make it as simple as we can. The other thing that we do that has been really beneficial in us being able to continue to elevate and grow and not have a ceiling, because we create a ceiling when we're just coasting and maintaining that we don't mean to create, but now it's there, and we keep on bumping up against it and feeling like, okay, this is good as it's gonna get. This is our thing. We found our groove. But when the ceiling be gone, when we have the ceiling be gone, then we can really soar. We can fly. We can experience things because we put it out there together energetically that we hadn't experienced before. Because, like I said, I was like, this is a pipe dream. We're gonna buy a house outright. That's just it. Even the travel, I was like, I don't know how that's gonna happen. And yet here we are. And it started with that piece of paper. And that other thing that we do is that we strive, because I don't say we don't, because we're all human and we do. But we strive to genuinely be curious about each other in different seasons in our lives. We are going to have periods and seasons in our lives where we're getting to know. And we've been together for 17 years. In a few years, we will have been together longer than we have been apart individually. And that's a heck of a thing to build and a heck of a thing to realize. And I'm like, nope, we we have to continue to be curious about each other's passions, each other's desires, because they shift and they change in different seasons and different iterations of our lives. There's going to be a get to know. And that comes from curiosity. Like, oh, I thought you, this is real, this is me talking. I thought you wanted to, get your own garage and have your own shop. Nah, I don't want to do that no more because X, Y, Z. Oh, now I know that this thing that I thought you were passionate about, or even one time you were passionate about, thinking about, considering, picking as a goal for yourself, it's no longer the goal. And he can be like, oh, so you know, used to write poetry, used to do the whole thing, but you want to take the acting classes too? Okay, that's cool. That's different. Where did that come from? Now you get to understand how I'm growing and discovering in my creativity in this season, in my 40s, in my life. Because my young adult life, childhood, young adult life, into my 20s, and even into my early 30s, singing, music, um, and poetry were my thing. But now I'm dibbling and dabbling in some other stuff. You know what I mean? So he gets to learn that about me in this season, in this iteration of my life. And that has been a really important and major component in our growth and our elevation together. And it not getting boring and it not feeling like a rut. And it also helps to foster our intimacy and our connection and our friendship because we go through hard-ish. Stuff ain't always easy. Making this decision was easy, but executing this decision to move abroad was not easy on us, on the family. There were things that were challenging along the way. How are we going to tackle that? When we have the foundation of friendship, it's easier. It's easier, despite our defaults sometimes, the things we default to that are not always beneficial. But that's what it does for us. And yeah, no ceiling. No, hashtag no ceiling. I feel like an older person trying to be a younger person anytime I say hashtag something else, but you know what I'm trying to say. No ceiling. So, all right. Thank you so much for your time, for hanging out with me. If something resonated with you with this, please put it down below. I appreciate you being here. Say, hey, roll call, because you made it to the end of this video and everybody's not going to do that. Okay. Attention spans are like, shoot. But I know here on YouTube, we can talk a little bit. We can talk about it for real. We can go into it. So I appreciate you. I'm Imani. I make videos to remind us to stay connected. Stay connected to yourself. Stay connected to your partner. And stay connected to creating a life that feels good to you. You know what I'm saying? So if that's your vibe, please subscribe. Let's continue on this journey. Let's continue doing this thing. And if something in this video truly resonated with you, we're like, hey, I want more. I want to be visioning with my spouse, but that's been challenging for us because of life, because of the differences in the way that we communicate, or you know, the rut that we're in right now. We can't seem to get out of it. I got you. Meet me in the description. I probably put it as a comment as well, but meet me in the description. I've got something for you. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And I'm going to see you on the next video.